So I'm Ryan Pitylak, run Unique Influence. At Unique Influence, we help companies grow by introducing new channels into their marketing mix. So for example, we'll bring companies into pay-per-click or affiliate marketing or display advertising, mobile marketing. And so the idea is that we're just trying to help these companies grow by introducing them to new potential customers and doing it in a way that's really focused on return on investment and making sure that they're making money with their investment decisions. You know, mobile marketing kind of has two sides to it. On one side, there is advertising to and trying to promote individual applications. So think of an application as being on your iPhone or your Android device. And so ultimately, you're buying advertising that will show up in other applications or other mobile websites and tries to promote those apps. So that's kind of on one side. And then the other side of mobile advertising, there is the promotion of mobile optimized websites. So with these mobile optimized websites, there is advertising that you can purchase on places like Google or other websites, and this traffic you're ultimately driving to this responsive mobile optimized website and trying to create conversions on that website. Yeah, so you know, mobile marketing is complicated for a couple of reasons. Again, I'll kind of talk about the two sides. On the app side, it's complicated because tracking is really difficult, and so you want to know which particular ad buys you're making are leading to conversions, are leading to installs of your application. And so the challenge today is that a lot of the industry is based on CPC advertising, cost per click advertising. So I might pay 3 cents, 6 cents, whatever for that click, and then ultimately I need to be able to track which of those clicks turned into installs, and closing the loop on that traditionally has been pretty difficult. Now there are some solutions to do that, and so that's one of the things that we really make sure that we do is put in the right technology so that all the advertising that's being purchased ultimately leads to a particular cost per install, and that we can then optimize the different sources. So success there is figuring out which source ultimately leads to a particular cost per install, and then using some tracking technology to make sure that to figure out which of those sources are leading to the most retention. So for example, this particular source may ultimately, the people from there, they may install a lot, but they may not stick around and use the application a lot. And typically that's the type of activity that leads to revenue for the company. And so we want to make sure that we're tracking all the way from the advertising we're purchasing all the way to the end user behavior and into retention. And that's how you create success on apps. On the mobile optimized website and the mobile marketing of website side, it's important to think about it the way that you think about just the website. And so with a website, you have a landing page that you would send people to. Ultimately, that landing page is going to convert those users, and if it's a sale, if it's a product, you want to sell a certain amount of those products. If it's a website where you interact with it and there's some sort of sign up that happens, you want to get a certain number of people signed up. So it's the same metrics, but the idea is that across the board, you always want to be focused on conversions and finding the customers that are the most valuable for you. I mean, at Unique Influence, we call it the conversion gap. And the conversion gap is the distance between where you ultimately think your customers are and where their activities are going to be on your website in terms of a conversion. So, you may think that, okay, somebody comes into the website, they're going to convert, and 50% of the people are ultimately going to convert and become retained users, and they're going to stick around for a long time. The reality is, typically it's a lot harder to figure out which advertising source is leading to the right customers, because all customers are not created equal. So you want to find the sources that lead to the best customers, that lead to retention, that lead to engagement, things like that. Yeah, so I'll focus more on the mobile optimized websites for landing pages specifically. And optimized websites or optimized landing pages are very important. You want to A/B test your landing pages because you're buying all this traffic, you're buying all these people to come to your website, and it's important not to just send them to your homepage, because your homepage typically doesn't speak to that particular audience that you have shown advertising to. And you need to create an experience that's consistent with your marketing message and with the audience that you've targeted. And then once they get to that landing page, make sure that you're not really, that it's really designed on conversion. So it's a lot of selling messages that show your benefit statements and ultimately lead to conversion. So, landing pages are very important in that process, and doing A/B tests and running different landing pages for different audiences. That's how you're successful with landing pages. Yeah, so I guess the biggest challenge is that there's not a lot of technology out there for it. So in terms of tool sets, there are definitely tools that allow you to take a landing page that you've created and make some changes, but none of it's very easy. Also, a lot of people don't really necessarily focus on mobile as much as maybe they should. So, in a particular marketing campaign, 15 to growing % of your traffic will be mobile, but a lot of times this traffic is taken to a website that's not mobile optimized at all. And so, if you have a mobile optimized landing page, at least you are getting part of the way there of trying to create an experience that is pleasant for that mobile audience. Because if I'm on my phone and it's this tiny little screen where I may do a lot of my surfing, I get to this page and it's this tiny little landing page. That's pretty annoying. And so I think there's a big opportunity for companies to create landing page experiences that are more mobile optimized. And it's also important because the cost per click on mobile is lower right now than it is for for traffic that's getting driven to a web page or like a desktop or laptop user. And so if I can buy traffic, if I can buy people coming to my website for cheaper on mobile, and I can take them to an experience that converts well because I have a good landing page, then I'm going to have a lower cost per acquisition. My cost to acquire somebody to engage with my client's brand is going to be lower. So there's a big opportunity there, and I don't think a lot of people have figured it out. And so there's definitely opportunity, and it's a good place to focus on. Yeah, so certainly have and certainly do. The way that we do it today is we'll create 2 versions of the landing page and then use some sort of technology to A/B split them. So the second way we do it is, we'll work with some tool providers that allow us to take a piece of code on the landing page and swap them out. And so there could be a div tag or a piece of HTML, and so we'll say, okay, focus on that piece of HTML and then change the message in that piece of HTML. So, when half the traffic or a third of the traffic or whatever goes to this version of the landing page, it has this marketing message, and when this other portion of the traffic gets to the landing page, they'll see that message. And ultimately, I think it's important to start with a landing page that you think is going to convert the best, and then make small changes on that. So maybe change the marketing message and see if that works. Change the color of the button, see if that works. Change the text in the button, see if that's a little bit better. And run all these different tests. And so the idea is you want to keep testing. That's really important to never just let your landing page be. You always want to keep making small tests and running small tests, trying to improve the results and the conversion rate of that landing page. And that's where success ultimately comes from. And again, it's testing these different messages. It's testing the feel. It's testing the way the buttons look. And small changes can make a surprisingly large difference. And it's showing people that giving people kind of an easy way to explain what it is that you want them to do. Like if you want them to click on a button, you should just tell them to do that. Something like click here to get something, or free trial, or whatever action is going to happen. Because you'd be surprised how many people get to a page and they don't even know what to do, or they don't realize what's going to happen when they do click on the button. And I think too often we as marketers and we as web designers don't think about a website in terms of the people who are using it. We think about it in terms of ourselves. And we're very savvy in terms of the web. So it's very obvious to us what to do typically. But then, think about your grandmother and, how she would use the website. And if she was, looking at this page, would she know what to do? And that's how you want to design it to make it easy for anybody to use it. And that's where testing can come in to, go through a lot of that. Yeah, so on mobile specifically, I think it's really important to pay attention to your cost per install. So like I said before, if you're promoting an application, you are going to have a certain cost to acquire that traffic. Let's say you're buying it on a cost per click. Let's say it's 5 cents per click. So now you know the cost to acquire a click. But a click doesn't really matter, right? Getting traffic to your website, it's helpful, but it's not the metric that you should care about. It's the number of people converting. And so you want to measure the conversion rate of that traffic, and then that leads to a cost per installation. So I know every single person who installs that app from that source, the cost to acquire that install is a certain amount. So that's a very important metric. And conversion rate and cost per click kind of feed into that, but the ultimate metric that matters is cost per install. Another one that's really important when you're on an application is retention rate. So, it's very, very important to retain users. And, I emphasize this only because a lot of people only focus on the cost per install, and it's really easy to get hung up just on that particular metric. But the reality is if somebody stays with your application twice as long and purchases does more in-store, more in-app purchasing while they're using it, and sees more ads while they're using it, understanding you can pay a lot less for that particular person. And so, improving the product performance, understanding the retention rate, and understanding the retention rate back to the different sources that you're advertising. Like, you may find that when you show somebody a video ad, that they're more educated about your product. And so when you show that video advertisement and then they get to the iPhone App Store and download the app and then ultimately start using it, that audience may retain better because they are more aware of what your product really is, what the app really is. And then on the mobile website side, the same metrics apply in terms of the web. So, what is your conversion rate? I want to know, like, if there's a button on that page that's ultimately going to take somebody off to make a specific action, like maybe go purchase a product or something like that. I want to know what the click-through rate of that button is, but only insofar as that it ultimately leads to conversion rates, or at least to sign-ups, or at least to whatever activity it is that you are trying to promote. And that also kind of leads to your cost per acquisition. So much like the cost per install on the app promotion side, you have a cost per sale or cost per person signing up to your website service. But ultimately, you want to know when you're buying people at a certain cost per click, which is typically how you would buy them, once they get to the website, what is their conversion rate, and then what is their cost per acquisition. I want to say hello to the Lander community, and also just want to say thank you for listening to what I've had to say. I always enjoy talking about this stuff. It's very near and dear to my heart. I mean, I've been doing internet marketing for 14 years, and I love it. Some people, they are, I guess, fortunate enough to figure out what they love, and I just absolutely love internet marketing. I love helping clients solve difficult internet marketing problems, and I guess that's why we're in the business we're in. But I just really enjoy it. And so I also appreciate people who are equally as passionate about internet marketing and are trying to figure out a way to make it work. And I understand that it always starts somewhere. You're always trying to figure out what that little thing is that's going to make the conversion rates a little bit higher, or make your cost of advertising a little bit lower, or increase your revenue just a little bit. And landing pages are a huge way to improve that performance. I mean, I'll tell you that if you look at a lot of the reports of what people are focused on in 2012, it's improving conversion rates more so than almost anything else. So you're focusing on the right thing by looking at conversion rates. My personal Twitter handle is Ryan Pitylak. The company's Twitter handle is the letter U, influence, which stands obviously for unique influence. we are available at uniqueinfluence.com. You can read more information about what our thoughts are about marketing and kind of how we think about mobile, and read more about us there. So thank you.